Oh my gosh, I'm with my friend April. This has been a long time coming. I'm so happy that you're here. We're having this conversation. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here too. Great to see you.
Yeah. Oh my God. I have to share the story of how you and I got connected. I believe in divine intervention, like the synchronicity of and just the magic of like chance and like not even a chance coincidence. Like I think it's so cool. When we first like met at a coffee shop, a restaurant, one of my favorite little breakfast spots in Florida. And you were there with your husband, and I was there with my daughter visiting family in Florida. And like we struck up a conversation. And ever since, like, been connected. And I'm so grateful that we have this friendship that spurred from like where did it start, you know?
It seemed like such randomness, and it really wasn't at all. So, yeah, I
I
agree.
Yeah, and getting to see you, and we're going to talk about like all the incredible things that you're doing. And like you spoke at Powerhouse Women this past August, and all my friends were sharing about you speaking, and I'm like, okay, this is too crazy. Like we are definitely like connected way beyond. It's crazy. But yeah, so welcome. I'm so excited to feature you and just have this conversation. We've had some chats about just the way we are doing healthcare, business, life differently. And your story really stood out to me, and just learning more about you and what you're all about. And you do help women kind of with a focus really in menopause and midlife. And you've lived through some challenges yourself. And I mean, yeah, going through chemo, radiation, like there's so much behind what you've navigated through. And I'm here to just really highlight you and share like how you're impacting women and like the lessons learned, and have a real heart to heart. Yeah. So like tell me what even brought you to understand, like, we all have these desires that we're meant for something. We're meant for something more. We have a calling on our heart. For the women I serve in this community, they're meant to be moms. They have this desire to bring in life. And there are all the doubts, all the things that women have heard, like, oh, you're too old, or just all the things that people have said that like may try to sway their opinion, but they know in their heart they're meant for something. And I just want to know, for you, what was it like you always knew you were meant for in your life? I know it's a big question to like kick it off, but um, can you kind of kick it off a little bit of what you're meant for?
I feel like I've always been meant to hold space for others. I didn't always know it would be for menopause, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funny story, when I started as a research biologist, I was 21, and one of my first projects was in menopause. And while it was interesting, it had nothing to do with my real life at the
Mhm.
time. So it's funny, full circle, that it comes around. But it seems that over the years, whether it was women executives that were struggling, or just friends struggling with health issues, or I just felt like I was always that person that could hold space, that could listen. And even if I didn't know the answer, I
Yeah.
was some kind of vessel to let people unload into, in a way that I just helped them feel like they could take a deep breath. And so my audience has changed a little bit over the years,
Mhm.
but that has stayed the same. And I think that's something that we all need. And I know you do that too for people. So
Yeah.
we're a little like,
Yeah, you mentioned your background in NIH, National Institute of Health, you know, research biologist. And I feel like you've completely switched gears from what that path
yeah.
was like, and like shifting into what you're creating and creating something new and something you're so passionate about. Like, can you share a little bit about your journey and like, you know, this idea of I want to make more impact, and kind of like what led you down to this new path?
Yeah. I mean, I was there for almost 20 years, and honestly, I loved it. I mean, I thought I had the best career, and not
Yeah.
many people leave college and work in their field. And I thought, hey, I'm the unicorn. I got it. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
We paid for a master's degree, so I was able to go forward. I started in a like MD, PhD program. I was working on all these, I really thought academia was it. This is where I was going,
Mhm.
until suddenly it wasn't anymore. And I looked at my boss and I thought, the next step is sitting in a cubicle writing every single day. And while the subject was interesting to me, I liked people more.
Mm,
And I wanted to work with the women that I was trying to help, not just see them as numbers on a spreadsheet or, data sets. And I really just wanted to work one-on-one and figure out like how you can apply these things to real life. Because science is funny in the way that it's not actually applicable immediately when the studies come out and we all think, oh, we read the study. And really, it doesn't mean that's, the right thing for us at the time. It just takes so many iterations. So I felt like I was so far away from actually working or doing the thing that actually helped a woman in her everyday life. And the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will, is I had a boss that, again, I didn't want to be her. I didn't want to be in the cubicle. And she told me one day that I should lower my standards. And it was just kind of it. Like that was the last thing. And I was
oh gosh.
like, and I had been, I was a long distance running coach on the side, and I was a personal trainer on the side, just things that I loved as my hobbies and working with people. And I just wanted to expand that more.
Hmm.
And so I ended up leaving, and a lot of people thought I was crazy. And, you mentioned Powerhouse. One of the things I spoke about Powerhouse was how everybody was like, so when are you getting a real job again? Because nobody, looks beyond that academic job or corporate job. And for me, it was moving on to something bigger, better, not going backwards at all. And
Hmm.
that's kind of how it took that shift. I took a year-long program to become an integrative health and wellness coach and have just gone on from there. And I just knew that it was the place I was meant to be.
And from your personal experience, like shifting from the research biologist into you'd studied nutrition and aging and all of that. So you had that health kind of awareness background and you
Mhm.
just wanted to like this isn't for me. This isn't an alignment anymore, right?
Right,
And you
right.
personally went through some struggles, right? And
Yeah, I not long after I opened my practice, I actually was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was 40 and I had just gotten married and I had just left my career of 20 years. And,
oh,
you know,
wow.
talk about feeling like your life blew up. But I took a little step back from coaching because I just had to focus, obviously, on getting healthy again. And when I started to feel a little bit better, I started to explore, well, what do I want to do now? I could do anything, and
Mhm.
I tried a few other things. I looked into real estate just because I wanted something where I still would, work on my own, but I kept coming back to health and wellness and working with women. And that's my most common phone call. That's my most common text. That's what friends ask me about. That, it was just, it's in my heart. And I know that's where I belong. And so since I was 40, none of my friends at the time, none of my colleagues knew anything about menopause personally. We were a little too young on that end.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm in menopause. Like one day I'm not, and the next day I am. My first day of chemo is that's it. And so along with trying to navigate the cancer treatment, I'm trying to navigate menopause as a younger woman, not having anybody to really, lean on or figure things out about.
Yeah.
And so now 10 years later, all of my colleagues, all of my friends, all of my clients, all of the questions are starting to circle around menopause because, well, now I'm 50, so that's the
Mm.
time that those questions really start to come
Wow.
up. And I realized that, I have the experience to really talk about and help women through this. And,
Mm.
I get a question a lot like, aren't you too young to be teaching us about menopause? And it's like, well, it's not an age necessarily. We think of it as an age, but there are so many women that go through reproductive trials, as you know,
Mhm.
and you find yourself in a different state than maybe you thought you would in your plan of life.
Mhm.
That doesn't make it any more real or any more something that needs to be navigated. And so
Wow.
I just found myself leaning in that direction, and it felt much more in alignment with what not only my experience in nutrition and aging, but now throw
Mhm.
menopause on top of it. And I just felt like it was a perfect storm, if you will, of of things coming
Yeah.
together.
Where was your headspace at that time? So you leave your safe job, in
Yeah.
quotes. You're confronted with a cancer diagnosis. You start chemo radiation. How long of a time period did that last for?
It was about 8 years, 8 years
Eight
of
years.
active treatment. Yeah.
8 years. April. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And can you take us back? Were you in an kind of an accepting place? Were you like, how did you navigate through that in the mindset kind of like, did you have a lot of people supporting you?
I really did.
Yeah.
I felt very supported. I felt really lucky. And when I would go into the chemo center or go in for any type of treatment, and
Yeah.
I always felt so grateful for the fact that the first question they ask you is, do you have support at home?
Mm,
And I thought, just like those signs you see pop up that seem ridiculous, the reason they ask that is because a lot of people don't. And it just made me very aware that a lot of people don't have that support and how
mhm,
grateful I was for what I did have.
mhm.
And it did make all the difference. And I think that's one of the reasons why I did have more of a positive outlook. I mean, I'm always known, if you ask anyone that has known me my whole life, they're like, oh, she's never sad. And that's not true. But it's just that I always have a more positive outlook. And I think starting that way kind of helped.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, I asked in the beginning, I was the healthiest I'd ever been. I was young. I was, all these great
Yeah.
things ahead of me. Like,
Yeah.
why me? And it didn't
Mhm.
take very long for me to just flip that and say, well, why not? Like, I'm no different than anyone else. Why not me? Why not me? Just like the woman
Mhm.
sitting beside me somewhere. And that maybe this was something that I was going to need to use for good. And I feel like I am now. And
Yeah.
so if I had to go through it, you
Yeah.
at least I feel like it has led in a direction that's been for some good.
I mean, what a big life transition. Like
Yeah.
job, health, starting a business. And you've spoken to me, we talked about like the importance of not doing things alone.
Yeah.
And the women that are coming to you now, like reaching out, whatever challenges that we're going through, the women I support, they're going through these emotional challenges.
Yeah.
It's exhausting going through fertility treatments, and navigating it alone is not the answer.
No. And I think that was part of it too, was just trying to figure out like how to manage the sadness and be okay that it is sad. Like there were dreams deferred. I was married. We waited longer in life, to find each other and
Yeah.
we gave ourselves a year to have a baby. That was the plan. As you work with women in their plan. So
Yeah.
we gave ourselves a year. I was 39, he was 49. And I'm like, we'll give ourselves a year. We'll have a little girl. This is our picture. Like we have our whole
Yeah.
idea of this is our life coming together now. And a few months in, I get this diagnosis, and it's okay, the ovaries are going, you're on estrogen therapy, there will be no freezing of anything. You're like there were some extreme options offered to me,
Okay.
but I kind of felt at the time that this was just my story. And I didn't feel that need to fight it in a way that would have changed it. And I
Yeah.
don't know why. I was sad for a little bit, sure, because you have a plan. When it gets wrecked, it doesn't put you in a great mood. But I felt like I guess this is the story. And now I have to figure out what it looks like on this side. And we joke all the time because we've had so many. My husband owns a business too, and some people that have needed like a place to stay for a few months or a year, or they needed, help along a line, or they needed help moving, or they needed help navigating financial challenges or family challenges. I'm like, I feel like we have 18 kids. Like, I think we brought them in a way that I had never anticipated. And maybe they were my kids that I was supposed to try to help or impact. So,
I did not know that about you, April.
uh,
When you were 39, you wanted to be a mom.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my
So,
husband's 7 years older than me, and we met in my later. I was 35 when we met. He was early 40s. So, yeah, a lot of women can relate. We're waiting longer to find our partners. And
I
was it something you always wanted to be a mom, or was it something later in life with your partner, with your husband? You're like, oh, let's,
I always saw it. It
yeah,
just, earlier relationships,
hmm,
earlier life
yeah,
didn't lead me that way.
yeah,
When we got together, we both knew. I mean, he hadn't had children before either, and
okay,
it's kind of
yeah,
a rare thing for two people at our age, and to be
oh,
okay, let's maybe try this for the first time. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
I
yeah.
got to meet him. That was really cool at breakfast. He's probably like, who is this woman like striking up this conversation? Oh my gosh. The work that you do, coaching, you have a membership helping women who are navigating through like these real life transitions. And what I love about you, like the things that you're all about, and you've shared with me, helping them find strength, balance, and peace one step at a time. And it's like, what a gift that you're stepping into your life's work, this purpose, this calling, impacting so many lives. And you're right, it is one step at a time. And can you just share any thoughts that are coming to mind about like the way you are leading women through your work and maybe how you've embodied it yourself and like this idea of finding that inner strength, balance, peace within?
Yeah, I mean, I've always just believed with my whole heart that there's no easy button and
Yeah.
there's no like go all in, change everything at once and,
Mhm.
open the door to a new life. And the way I have seen not only myself, but my clients find success is just doing one thing.
Mhm.
And once you get that as part of your life, you integrate it as just part of who you are, then you can add another thing. And it just makes your life full of healthy choices instead of being, this is me, unhealthy, and now I'm going to make all the healthy choices, and you're either on or off. And, so many people do that. They're like, I'm throwing it all out the window this weekend. I'm just going to do whatever. And that's okay. You could do that.
Yeah.
But it's the on and off switch. Like you can still do that and still be healthy, And that's why
Mhm.
I just really believe that you have to have it shouldn't be about the dress for that wedding or your bikini body for next year. And I mean, I get all that. Those are all things we struggle with and we want.
Yeah.
But once you realize that those things are just a small part of the bigger picture of how you feel, it all starts to make sense. And almost everyone I've worked with gets to the point where they're like, you know what? This is better. And women have to get there themselves, I mean, you
Mhm.
can't tell somebody, forget the bikini body. That's not important. If it's
Yeah.
important to you, it's important to you.
Yeah.
If that's what you want, we'll help you get there. But what I find often is unless you look at the whole picture and your whole body health, then that bikini body or that 10 pounds you wanted to lose never really makes you happy. You never find that thing you were looking for.
Mhm.
So yeah, just one thing at a time I feel has worked. I refer to it as an intentional wellness project that
Mm.
and I think it's because being in corporate and academic, everything was a project. And
Yeah.
I just felt like it was this intentional, well, like if you really hone in on something and you're very intentional and it becomes part of who you are, then it's just a much better way to feel about yourself.
Mhm.
And it's I don't know, there's something about feeling good that trumps looking good any day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we
Oh
can have
yeah.
both. I mean, if you're feeling good, you're going to look good too. But if we only focus on the aesthetic part of it and
Mhm.
the other parts missing, it often leaves you feeling hollow. I mean, we've all been there, we've all tried to do something that just made
Mhm.
us look better for some reason.
Mhm.
But doing the small things one step at a time to actually increase your energy, to make you feel better, to bring yourself peace, to get stronger. There's nothing like a woman who feels that way inside and the glow of her face and how beautiful she is. And
Yeah.
I think we miss that about ourselves a lot of times.
This is so good, April. Oh my gosh. Thank you for speaking to the power of intention. I'm all about that as well. Like without an aim, without a focus, like we're just kind of aiming blindless. What is it? Aimlessly, blindly.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mhm.
having that clear focus and intention and in your opinion, is it like it could be day to day? It could be your long-term intention, right? Your intention for the moment.
Right. Yeah, I work with women in a couple ways and we do a big vision. How would you like to feel? What do you want your life to look like in 10 years? But that doesn't tell you what to put on the calendar for your tomorrow's to-do list, so you have to kind
Right.
of back. that up a little bit and then look at the smaller goals and then start with every day. So
And it
yeah,
doesn't have to be complex too.
no, not at
And I
all.
resonate with that.
No, what I teach is a foundation called the simple pillars of health, specifically for that reason. I mean, yes, there are hacks and tips and tricks and all kind of things, but they're no substitute for the foundation. And so I primarily work with women on setting the foundation first and then
Yeah.
adding in some tips and tricks and tweaks.
Yeah.
You can, it's like cherry on top, but it's not what you need to really build something solid.
I completely agree. Yeah. Step one in my process is lay the foundation. Like we have to build, like, what were we building from? The starting
Yep.
point, you
Right.
know? What do you see the most in with your women that you help? I'm sure you just see everything from challenges with sleeping and the stress level and how do you navigate through this with the mindset that you're gonna what do you see? Like I'm just curious what you hear from the ladies that you support.
I see it all. Hear it all. No, and I think that's the fine point of it, and that's where the membership came from. I had just focused on one-on-one coaching for a long time,
Hmm.
and then I realized I was getting the same questions from a lot of women. And as you know, you can only work with so many one-on-ones.
Yes. Hmm.
And and I realized that a lot of the things were universal issues and things they really needed help with. And a lot of it is, hey, I used to be able to just eat a little less and move a little bit more, and I could lose those 10 pounds that I gained over the holidays. And well, that's not working for me anymore. I mean, I would say that is probably the biggest thing. And helping women realize that things change in menopause, the way you do things
Yeah.
change.
Hmm.
um, your body's not broken, it's just different. So we have to do
Hmm.
something different to still make it work as efficiently as you want it to still have energy, to still feel good, to still make it do what you want it to do.
Hmm.
So a lot circles back to nutrition. I'm a huge component of food first nutrition. I, of course, believe there are some needed supplements, but they're exactly that. You supplement your diet with what's
Yeah.
missing, fill in the gaps. It's not a substitute for something.
Hmm.
I don't want you to eat, fast food every day, but hey, I'm taking my multivitamin, like that, that's not going to work. That doesn't work. Um, Again, the foundation, like you said. And I mean, there are a lot of women that start with the weight component or the loss of energy component, but it's also a lot of, I have mind fog or brain fog, and I just feel like I can't concentrate the way I used to. And I used to be able to juggle life at home, and all of a sudden I'm feeling overwhelmed, and I didn't before. So that
Yeah.
comes up a lot. And some physical things like hot flashes and night sweats and those. And
Yeah.
and I think the misunderstanding that there's this period of menopause that once you're over it, you're okay again.
Mhm.
And that's not true, unfortunately. I mean, it's true for a lot of symptoms. You can take HRT if it's something that works for you. I personally can't, and I work with a lot of women that can't take it.
Interesting.
Um, but if you can, that's a tool. But it doesn't, again, it's not the easy button. It doesn't solve everything.
Yeah.
Um, you can lift heavy. That's been my biggest, along with menopause, I also had severe osteoporosis because of going into immediate menopause.
Mm.
So I was on a drug for that for a long time. And if I have to say I have a regret in my treatment, that's it. So I've gone back to strength training and
Okay.
eating for better bones, and I've increased my bone density because of it. So, but women don't think about that until they're 85 or 90. So I think it's hard. I think they're coming to me initially with weight issues and energy issues and mind fog, but all of those things are a glimpse into other things that are happening in our body that aren't showing up until
Mm.
later. And so that's why I really believe in that foundation and small steps and setting themselves up for a life after, if you will, that is just better energy integrated into your day to day.
Mm.
And the ability to not feel like your body has just like betrayed you. I mean, I know that's how we feel is like, what's going
Yeah.
on with this body? And to still honor our bodies and maybe
Yeah.
feed it differently and make it move differently so that I mean, it is your one body.
Yeah.
So,
Just thinking of so many parallels with women who are going through treatment and we're giving ourselves these shots and experiencing the brain fog, as you mentioned, a lot of the time, and the hormone fluctuations of like emotions running all over the place, and anger and grief. Like there's so
yeah.
much that's happening. Um, and
It's
yeah,
interesting
I'd love to hear
even
your thoughts.
even from a nutritional standpoint, like the things that are good for fertility are good for menopause, like lower glycemic eating, like increase your fiber, like increase your antioxidant power foods. Like all those
Yeah.
things are so important. And I don't think it's any like big surprise that they are really helpful in both of those kind of bookends, if you will, to our reproductive life.
Yes.
So I think there's a lot of parallels between our two groups of
Yes.
women that we work with and just women in general.
Yeah. Lifting weights, building our bone density, like you're talking about. I just had a conversation with an amazing fertility doctor, Dr. Crawford, too. And she spoke highly about this. We don't talk about that enough, how
Yeah.
it can support our fertility. Um, Gosh, there's so many things I want to talk to you about. Like, let's switch gears. So, doing big things and stretching and growing and expanding. As you were pitching yourself to speak, tell me about like how the process worked to speak for Powerhouse and how that came about. And
Oh,
like,
sure.
I want to hear just how you're leveling up in your own life. I know a lot of the work we do, it like starts with us. Like we're the embodiment of how we're impacting lives, right? Like what we've lived through, how we're being a model for personal growth and change. And like you've gone through your own personal up leveling, if you will. I'd love to hear like what you've been stepping into more.
Yeah, and it's true. I'm just really trying to be an example. I feel like I've tried really hard to be an example on the health side of things.
Uh-huh.
Women don't come to me just for health. They also come and they say, I don't feel like I have much purpose anymore now that my kids are grown.
Mm,
Or I'm on my own, maybe post divorce or post losing a spouse or whatever it is, or just I'm sitting at home now with just me and my job.
yeah.
And I thought I could be an example there too, because we've all felt that.
Yeah.
So I decided this year that I was going to try to step into that. And I've always been, let me blend. Like I am the biggest, I can blend in any crowd. I went to high school with 110 kids, and then I went to college purposefully at the University of Maryland. So it was a state school so that there were 40,000 so that I could blend. Like I wanted a big school.
Oh,
And it's funny because I went to Powerhouse last year and I walked up to say hello to Lindsay, who's the founder.
yep.
And she said, "Oh, I noticed you from the back because of your little short haircut." And what was funny is I had noticed from the back, wow, I don't fit in here. So
Oh,
that's what I noticed. Like everyone had like this just, in my opinion, this
yeah.
just beautiful full hair. And I was like, oh, I'm this little old lady in the back. Like, you see
Yeah.
yourself a little differently.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she saw me differently, but not in a, oh, look at the old
Yeah.
lady way. And so I remembered that. And then a year later or so is when she put the call out for a powerhouse moment.
Mm,
Way, the idea is she asks women to submit a moment in their life that changed things, either in their life, in their business, something that other women could relate to. And I already knew what the moment was. I just didn't know if I wanted to share it with the world. I
because you wanted to blend in.
didn't want to blend. And so I was at a yoga retreat, and it was one of the nights. So every night in the yoga retreat, we would have some kind of journal reflection or prompt. And we would chat by ourselves. I'm like on our own and write. And then we would share in small groups. And the question was, where is an area where you're playing small? And so people answered that question. Of course, I was like, I blend. Like that's what I do. I'm not putting myself out there. I want to grow my business, yet I'm
Yeah.
only doing word of mouth. So I'm doing fine, but only if I get a referral from somebody.
Mm.
And the next question was, how is that holding you back? And
Mm.
people, started to share how it's holding you back. And you can get angry about how it's holding you back, like the
Yeah.
things that you can't do or you're not able to do.
Mhm.
And then she added on the third question, and this is the one that was the kicker to me. And she said, how is it protecting you?
Ooh.
Because a lot of times we are choosing to stay small because it's safer.
Yeah.
And I thought, "Ooh, that's why I'm staying small. It's not because, like, I'm not like, oh, nobody is allowing me to speak. That's not at all what it was. I wasn't
Yeah.
allowing myself to get out there or to be in front. And so that night was the deadline for submitting a 90-second talk to camera submission of what your powerhouse moment was to pitch yourself on stage.
Hmm.
Like, okay, I'm doing it. Like, I just had this. So I went back to my hotel, sat on that little, I don't know, balcony thing out
Yeah.
there in the jungle. So it's gorgeous. I'm like sitting in the jungle in Costa Rica, like
Oh
having
my
my
God.
thing. And I just spoke to camera and I shared my powerhouse moment. And in a nutshell, basically what it was is I overheard somebody say to a stranger when I was in a coffee house once, they said, imagine what would happen if you fully committed to this. And I
Mm.
don't know what they were talking to. They weren't talking to me. They weren't talking about
Yeah.
me, had nothing to do with me. But in my mind, I was like, that's what I'm not doing. I'm not fully committed. Imagine. And it had such a positive spin. It wasn't, what are you missing out on? It was, imagine what could happen. And I was like, ah.
Mm.
And which is why I even went on the yoga retreat in the first, I had all. So anyway, I did it. I submitted it. And I was so afraid because I don't speak to camera that often. Again, that's just not what
Yeah.
I.
Yeah. Yeah.
And about 2 weeks later, which was about a week and a half before the event, I got a call from Lindsay that said that I, along with one other woman, had gotten the spot. And so then, of course, I was a hot mess because then I had to change that 90-second share into 5 minutes. And she and I, the other woman and I, who was fantastic, we had the two 5 minute keynotes. And yeah, so that's all that.
Wow. It's so amazing. Gosh, you did it scared and you just
I really
felt that,
did.
felt that deep like pull, like, I have to do this. I have to share my
Yeah,
voice. I can't play small, but like this is protecting me. That's getting really real with yourself,
yeah.
Like,
And the crazy part is there was after Powerhouse, the first year I went, there was a retreat for women that I didn't qualify for, but I kind of stalked the retreat, the event online because I was like, I'm going
yeah.
to be there one day. And
Uh-huh.
yoga teacher in that retreat. And I was like, "Ooh, I like her. Like there's something about her. I just really loved her
Yeah.
vibe and who she's the one who held the yoga retreat that I blindly signed up to fly to Costa Rica to go be with. And I had never taken a yoga class of hers ever. Yet
Wow.
her prompt is what made me do the powerhouse. It was just
Well,
such a weird, yeah.
yeah. Just like again, how we met and how this is all like divinely planned in the out
Yeah.
there. Oh my gosh. What a
Yeah.
cool coincidence that is.
So it really
Serendipitous
made me feel
moment.
like this is what I have to do. And even though, I mean, I came home from Powerhouse and I'm like, okay, I'm still just as scared. I still don't want to put my face out there, but I'm
Yeah.
doing it anyway. And I'm just deciding that I'm just going to put it out there and do it. And I've been in tears more times from people walking up to me that I had no idea saw my stuff and would say, "Thank you so much for the things that you're saying," or "Oh my gosh, I'm seeing what you're doing on Instagram, and thank you so much for sharing these kinds of things. That's great." And there are people that never comment or never even like anything, so I didn't even know. And that makes me
Hmm.
realize that the things we say have impact on people, and it, we don't have to
Yeah.
see it. And
Yeah.
so that's what
Yeah.
keeps me doing it.
That's a really beautiful reflection. I know we don't know who's listening, who's watching,
Yeah.
and we just keep showing up. Like, this is your truth.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Thank
I've
you for
always been
sharing.
one to be very quiet. I'm private. A couple of my friends used to call me mysterious when I was growing up. They're like, you always have mystery around you. And it's just because again, I was the listener. I was holding space for others. I wasn't sharing my
Yeah.
story. But since I've been doing it, people have really been relating to it. And it's bringing me out of my shell, but I think it's also
Yeah.
helping people that are hearing. what I have to say.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is such a good conversation. I know I'm so grateful because it's like we need expanders in our lives who are also stretching and growing and giving us permission to do it scared. I mean, I'm doing this every day, like living in this, go
yeah,
for it, right? Like even this weekend, I attended an incredible conference and here in Denver. And it's just like that, the energy of seeing others who are really going for it and like getting over our own fears and like what it, like, again, the protection piece that's key, right?
yeah,
Getting real with ourselves. Like, how is this helping me? I'm not helping anybody by playing small.
right, right. And I realized
Yeah.
too how we all are that scared person inside. Like even the
Mhm.
one we look at and they're like, wow, she's really got it all together. I really admire her. Whoever that is, they're scared inside too. And
Mhm.
I remember coming off the stage in Powerhouse and all the people that were like, wow, you really sounded confident. And I'm like, my heart inside was not at all. Like, and being able to just look at that and realize how I felt versus how I reflected that
Mhm.
on stage and how different that seemed to me, it actually was a good way for me to realize that that person that I see that has it all together is a real person inside too. You know,
Mm.
it, it kind of broke it down for me a little bit more, made it more relatable for others. So,
Love that.
yeah.
Oh, April. Oh my gosh. Anything else new on the horizon that you want to share? Like I love what you're creating. I want other women to know about your membership and opportunities to work with you. And um, how can women find you and just share anything you want to share about what you're creating, what's coming, what's
Yeah.
next?
I mean, I think you can find just about everything on my website, which is just aprilizer.com. But the membership is closed right now and it'll reopen at the beginning of the year. So I opened it for founding members. But I do
Okay.
have a little secret that I haven't shared with anyone
Mhm.
yet.
What?
And I am going to open it for the weekend of Black Friday at founding member prices just for 3 days. Because once I closed the doors, I had so many people come and say, I really wanted to, but I didn't pull the trigger. I really want to, and now I have to wait. And so I decided, you know what? It's not about getting the extra, the $30 extra that it's going to cost in January. It's
Yeah.
about helping more women and if they really want to do it. So I
Mm.
just decided when could I kind of just open it for a surprise. And so over Black Friday, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to open it at the founding member price so people could jump on. Uh,
Good.
yeah. So if they want to
Good.
check it out, it's on the website and all my information is on Instagram
I'll
at
put your
April.
website in the show notes, but aprilizer.com. And you're on Instagram. Where else do you like to hang? Any other social media channels that you're on?
It's mainly Instagram. Everything goes
Okay.
on to Facebook too. For now, you know how that all changes.
Hmm.
But I am primarily on Instagram.
Yeah. And your cute dog, you always share about.
Yeah, she's our joy. That's what we joke. She's our daughter.
What's her name again?
Drummer.
Drummer. Oh my gosh.
Um,
Oh, April. Thank you so much for this conversation. And, I'm really lucky that we're connected and just cheering you on. We're both taking big leaps. And I think
Yeah, I'm
2026.
so happy to be
Yeah.
connected to you and seeing our parallel paths. I love it. Yeah.
So great. All right. Well, everyone check out April because she's incredible. And, thank you again for just like being so courageous and sharing your vulnerability and like the things that we want are worth going for. Like
Yeah.
we have these big dreams on our heart that, we're meant for. If you're meant to be a mom, if you're meant to create the business, whatever you're birthing in the world, like there's a community of those around you who are there to support you.
Yeah.
And as we talked about, not doing things in isolation, really the power of support.
Community
Yeah,
is huge. It
it
really is.
is.
Yeah.
It is. All right. Well, I love you. We will talk again soon. And
All right.
thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great to see you.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.